I'm at the Embassy Theater today talking with Steve Linsenmayer. We are going to talk a little bit about the fact that the Embassy is now a not-for-profit. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. Back in 1928, the Embassy started as a for-profit company. That was the idea, make money with a theater and a hotel outside. Then business throughout the years for movies became not so good, not so bright, and then in the early 1970s, the theater closed for business. After that, the Embassy Theater Foundation stepped in, led by Bob Goldstein and some really dedicated volunteers, and they gathered enough money through donations to pay the $250,000 it cost to pull the theater back from the brink. The wrecking ball was said to be on the way. So it was a good save.
So it's safe to say that without those volunteers and Mr. Goldstein, that the Embassy would be no more.
Absolutely. And one of the interesting things is Bob Goldstein could have possibly written a check to save this theater by himself. Mm-hmm. But he understood that he didn't need a theater. Matter of fact, I think he told some of his friends that. What do I want with a theater? What he knew is that Fort Wayne needed a theater. And this is the last real remaining operative historic theater in Fort Wayne. We're the largest in the state. Bob knew it was important to get people at a grassroots level supporting the theater. And you had everything from people giving $10 bills to kids giving quarters in schools. And an interesting thing happened is that a lot of the bigger money in town then noticed there was this interest in this theater that was supposedly worn out, tired, and shot. And they said, oh. And they started to step forward as well. And that's part of what made it work then and what made it work over the next 10, 20 years, really trying to put the place back together.
So now it is a not-for-profit. So how do you continue to run such a gorgeous theater?
Very carefully. We make about 60% of the money we need through operations, which is a great thing to do for a theater. That's renting this stage to promoters who come through. We don't take the risk on promoting a show, so we make it slow and steady, but we make money through that. We make money through rentals for special events, and that's a good amount, 60% for a nonprofit, but it leaves a bit of a gap. About 25% of our money comes from foundations, and they're local foundations. They support a lot of different aspects of what we do, whether it's fixing heating and air conditioning, the roof, it could be for programming. There's something they want to see, though. They want to know that we are being good stewards of the money, and that we are spending this in the best interests of the Embassy and for the community who it's really for. How does the Grand Page organ play into all of this? No pun intended. Well, thanks. From what I understand, it played a big role in saving the Embassy. It certainly did. It was that group of people, the 6 founders who came together, they had a love for the organ. Some of them liked to play the organ. Some of them liked to fix it and work on it and make it sound better. But they all knew they wanted to keep it running, and as some of them would tell you, well, they realized they had to fix the roof over the organ, and then as long as they fixed it over the organ, then they might have to spread out a little further from there, and the rest was history. Wow. But
so we can sort of thank the organ along with Mr. Goldstein and the others, but that was really the catalyst.
Very much so. Very much so, because at the time the theater had run long and hard and was not as pretty as it looks today, and not as shiny. And it had, people were convinced that maybe old construction, old things weren't the way to go, that new buildings were the only way to the future for downtown. And I think we're seeing something different today.
Yeah. So I want to reiterate that the Embassy is now a not-for-profit. So although 60% is made through their rentals, it still can be very much a grassroots effort, collecting quarters with the kids.
Well, the interesting thing is that while we have the grant support, like I said, it does come down to individuals, because as it did back then, it does today. Grantors still look at you and say, who supports your theater? How many individual memberships do you have? What sorts of contributions do you get from individuals and companies? It's very important. We have about 500 members today. You can be a member of the embassy. You get some benefits. You get some chances to hear about shows earlier and buy tickets earlier. But what you really get is a chance to help support this and keep it rolling and keep it going. Maybe for your kids, maybe for somebody else's. But it's too beautiful to let go. And it's a great way you can support it. It's a tax-deductible contribution, which is nice. But nicer is coming down here, looking up and seeing what you've got around and saying, wow, I did a little bit of something to help keep that going.
I could not have said it better myself. What a fantastic cause, really. If you are looking to put your money anywhere, this would be a great idea. As you said, the embassy is a place that your children should experience and their children should experience, and hopefully you have fond memories from when you were a child. It's something that we simply cannot lose. No,
I don't think so. It's fun to work for it. It's fun to help raise money for the embassy, because I can say the proudest things and not feel like I'm exercising the sin of pride. It's not mine. I didn't do it. It's still here. Our job is to take care of it, make sure it stays beautiful, and to make sure it gets used. And
do your part to be sure that it stays running and is made as useful as it should be. Give the Embassy Theater a call today if you would like to rent it out for any purpose, or of course you can come see any number of fantastic shows. Steve, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
And again, come on out to the Embassy.